Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an Order of Scribes WIZARD build in Baldur's Gate 3. This is a mod that was made by IncogneatoBurrito here, and it's part of their book of wizards, which also includes the War Magic wizard, which I've covered previously. Now, the Order of the Scribes, what this does interestingly is it gets a spell book that you can summon, and you can position it and cast your spells through the spell book. Very cool stuff. We'll be diving into a build here for spells. I would recommend at the start Mage Hand to be able to throw health potions, water bottles, things like that. Bone Chill is also nice if there's targets that will receive healing, we can stop that. And Ray of Frost for kiting, however, you can swap out and use Firebolt instead. And if you're the face of the party, Friends can work great too. For our spells we'll be taking at level 1, I like to have guaranteed damage with Magic Missile. It's also nice to have Shield for the +5 to armor class with some survivability. I also like Find Familiar for the Raven to blind enemies at the start of combat. It can be pretty useful. Thunderwave, pushback, sometimes knocks enemies off of ledges. We can also go Grease for crowd control. Ice Knife, if you're silenced, you can cast it. Long Strider is a great buff if your team does not already have it. Chromatic Orb for coverage and a bunch of different damage types. And I also like to just have the Chromatic Orb there alongside Grease. It's my personal preference. Now, ability score spread, we can go with a 16 and 16 points on our Constitution. The Wizard has less health than every other class, so we need the extra survivability, but you can also use a Constitution amulet on this build and then go with a stat spread of higher dexterity so that we have higher initiative and armor class. And once we get to level 2, the Order of the Scribes. This gets subclass features. Basically, you can learn any spell scroll for a lot cheaper. So that's all the different subclass features there. And we also get the formulaic attunement. So you can study your awakened spellbook, manipulate its formulae to make spells stronger. So you can choose an element type and get additional damage on it, equal to your intelligence modifier. You also get the Scrivener Ritual, so a collection of ritual spells gained through your awakened spellbook. And the prepared spells will take a next level. I guess Mage Armor is a nice one to have as well. And then we'll go with Ice Knife. We get Silence there. And prepared spells, I like this following here. And we do get our Scrivener Rituals here, so we do have Long Strider and things like Speak with Animals and Featherfall at any time you need them, which is great because the Wizard brings a lot of utility. And we also have this here, which again, you get to choose and a damage type, and you get additional damage equal to your intelligence modifier on that. And they ignore any resistances the target may have, so things like fire are a lot stronger this way. And once we hit level 3, we then get Detect Thoughts added to this book here. And we also get to take a level 2 spell. Now, I like the Hold Person Scorching Ray combo for the 3 crits on it. That's typically going to be the highest damage option that we'll get at this level, so that's what we'll roll with. However, if you got Mistress spells, there's lots of great selections there too. For our cantrips, we'll be taking next level Bone Chill, never a bad option. And then we'll also be going with something like Misty Step for the free bonus action teleport. We also got Mirror Image for increasing our armor class by 9, which is great for survivability. Knock is also a nice spell to be able to open up any lock. Darkness can have its merits, and Cloud of Daggers has some guaranteed damage, which can be nice as well. I typically like to go, if you're going more utility, take Knock or Mirror Image. Otherwise, Cloud of Daggers and Misty Step works great. I like to take Alert for the first feat. Going first in combat is huge, although you could also go with an intelligence increase. This increases our spell's damage as well. Going with the fire one is great at this level because this basically gives you the Sorcerer Draconic's main benefit earlier on. We then get level 3 spell, Speak of the Dead, in our Scrivener's Rituals here, and we get to take the very powerful Counter Spell. And I like to take either Fireball or Lightning Bolt. Since we have Mage Hand, it can throw a water bottle to double the damage of lightning, so that's great. Probably the best choice there. And we're going to be preparing those spells as such, and I'd recommend also having Misty Step. Since we do have good positioning, we can actually use a Misty Step and Kite with our scroll, or our spellbook, which is kind of cool. Here we get our Manifest Mind at level 6. The Manifest Mind is our book, letting us cast from anywhere with our book. Pretty cool stuff. We also then get to take more spells here. I like to then take Fireball, and Haste is good, or Glyph of Warding. You can use this to sit down if you're a half-elf, sleep, and then put everyone to sleep in your area. It's kind of great. I'm going to take Fireball though. We get our really good spell here at level 7 with Ice Storm, being able to set up crowd control with ice surfaces and doing good amounts of damage. And we also get Minor Elementals. Now, these do fall off in their effectiveness, but it's a good option to have just for extra damage. You can kite the enemy around using them, which I think is a great option. They're just there for some extra support. At this point, you can actually remove Misty Step and go with them. Might be a little bit better. Misty Step is nice, but we got our spell books. We can position a little differently. We'll also then take Greater Invisibility as a nice spell because you can use this to, basically if you have a teammate that's got Pass with a Trace like a Ranger, they can become invisible forever, helping us with support role. Confusion's another good spell that's not bad to have on our setup here. We'll then add Misty Step back on, and we'll go with Alert. An intelligence increase can work well too, because that'll be 5 damage added to Scorching Ray. Level 9 gives us another choice in some great spells here. We get Cone of Cold, which is heavy damage, and we can summon in a water elemental, and its main punch attack can chill the enemy, which makes them take double cold damage. Actually pretty nuts. We also got things like Hold Monster, which are pretty powerful there. And for the prepared spells, I'd recommend having Cone of Cold, and you can take off Thunderwave and use a Greater Elemental if you'd prefer at this level. Level 10 gives us our subclass feature Master Scribe, and you can cast any first or second level spell which uses an action without expending a spell slot. Pretty nice. We then get another cantrip at this level, and I'd recommend Minor Illusion is actually nice at this level because you can use this out of combat, group enemies together, and drop a fireball on them. Otherwise, I guess Shocking Grasp can be a good choice if we want to get away from a target that may opportunity attack us. We're then going to take Hold Monster. If you have a cleric with Hero's Feast, Cloud Kill can actually be your entire team will be resistant to it if you use Hero's Feast, so that can be nice too. However, I do think going back and taking Mirror Image is a good choice for the extra survivability, and we'll prepare the Elemental. Now, at level 11, we get Chain Lightning, pretty good stuff, obviously, and Odalug's Freezing Sphere. Now, this has higher base damage if there's 3 or 4 targets nearby. This will have higher damage if there's 5 or more. So, depending on, then this also has a large area of effect. I prefer this because of the surface that it leaves. You can also do a pretty funny cheese where you make a bunch of portable ones of these using scrolls and stuff, and then put it on someone's body and just explode anyone in the game. But we'll just go ahead here, throwing on Chain Lightning, or I prefer Odalug's, but your choice at that level. The wizard gets Odalug's, so we may as well use it. Now, level 12 here, we can then take Wall of Ice and Globe of Invulnerability. Wall of Ice got fixed in Patch 8, and Globe of Invulnerability is one of the best spells in the game. We'll then prepare. I like to have Globe and Odalug's, but you can continue with whatever you prefer there. And we're going to go with an increase to our intelligence, so you can continue to increase that there. And then prepare the spell that you want. You can also take Warcaster if you're not using the Constitution Amulet. And I'll also show a build for level 13. However, you can stop at level 12 and be perfectly fine, because we don't really need any of these other spells here. You can go back and take, like, if you got Mistress spells, things like Synaptic Static, or other some Psychic Lance, Steel Wind Strike are some solid options. Tidal Wave is broken, setting on water surface and knocking targets prone. But we'll take Circle of Death and Sunbeam there. We don't really care too much about what we're preparing extra at this next level here, so you can really do with whatever you prefer. Our final subclass ability here is the one with the word. So this gives advantage on all our Arcana checks. And additionally, per long rest, if you take damage while your Spectral Mind is summoned, you can then dismiss the Spectral Mind instead to prevent all the damage to yourself. This can be situationally good if you forgot to get out of the way of Answer Fight and getting blasted with lightning. But one thing is that this isn't from normal D&D, it's just the way you can't really adapt this into the regular tabletop into D&D, so I think IncogneatoBurrito does a fantastic job with this, so pretty good stuff. Again, take whatever spells you want, there's nothing here that we really need. And you can cut it off there. I'm just going to continue to just keep grabbing spells here at each level just to power through it here. You're going to get a huge prepared list of spells, it's kind of crazy. I also like the tough feat. Since we're going to level 20, we have 40 extra health, which is something the wizard struggles with. They don't have a lot of health, so yeah, you can use that just to be able to buff yourself up and give yourself some extra survivability. And for the final feat, you can go with the lucky one, or ability score improvement to boost up our dexterity or constitution. Yeah, in level 20, we just get a couple more spells here. Good stuff. I'm using the Zany Casual Clothes mod here, if you're wondering. And one of the best pieces of gear on any caster is going to be the Hat of Fire Cutie here. Scorching Ray, level 4 spell slot, plus 10 to your spell save DC. You can cast anything and land it. I also like the Cloak of Protection, the Robe of the Weave, giving yourself a +2 to armor class, and also boosts your spell save DC. This is a late game item. The best one in the very early stages of the game is actually the Protect the Sparks Wall. This is great because the bonus to spell save DC and bonus to armor class are kind of nice. You can also go with the Potent Robe, I guess. It doesn't really work well in that, or just go with the best available. You do want to have the Mage Armor spell prepared here, because you can use this to be able to boost up your armor class even further when you're wearing robes, bringing our base armor class up to 13. I also got the Gloves of the Belligerent Skies here. This will give us reverberation on the enemy whenever we deal thunder, lightning, or radiant damage, so a lot of our spells consist of that. We could also go crazy and use something like the Callous Glow Ring, which will give us additional radiant damage, and then go Radiating Orbs with the Luminous Gloves. That's another option, but we're not going to pursue that. The Disintegrating Nightwalkers gives us Misty Step, which is quite nice. I also like to go with the Ring of Mental Inhibition, so when a target fails a saving throw, they get a -2 to their mental saves. This is great for landing our command and control spells like Hold Person and Dominate Person, even some of the other ones here, because we get a big bonus to our spell save from our Fire Hat, and then this will make the enemies weak to it. Ring of Protection, typically good on a wizard because we're pretty weak otherwise. You can also use the Crusher's Ring for a bit of more movement speed. And even the Coruscation Ring is pretty nice. Whenever we're illuminated, we can apply Radiant Orbs. I'm going to put that one on there. I do like to use the Callous Glow Ring in conjunction with a bunch of Radiant, but I think this works well. Actually, we'll throw the Radiant Ring on just so we can proc the gloves pretty much every single time in combat. Now, the bow, we aren't using it for anything other than the +3 to our initiative. We're going first every single round with that. And then we're going to go with the Mark of Heshker Staff. Now, this is better on a Sorcerer because they can use Kreska's Favor, Bolts of Doom, and do a twinned Chain Lightning to 2 enemies is actually kind of busted and didn't get patched. The Staff of Spell Power is great as well. If you wanted to use something else, you can use the Staff of Cherished Necromancy in Act 3 with the Circle of Death spell. Not amazing, but it's an option. In early game, the best would be Morning Frost. This is one of the best to take. I also got the Viconia's Walking Fortress here for the increased survivability. And before you get into combat, you can throw out Mirror Image and Mage Armor here. And if you really are smart with it, you can even drop Globe of Vulnerability to make sure your team doesn't even get hurt on the first turn of combat. And I would recommend summoning in a Water Elemental, because this is able to set up double damage for cold spells. Alright, so when we're in combat, Manifest Mind is nice, because you can use this to set up your spells in a completely different area, so you can drop this down. It's the Spectral Mind there, which you can cast your spells through. So you can see on the right-hand section here, we got our free level 1 and 2 spell slot. But we also have the Gaze of the Spectral Mind, which is cool, is then you can make it so that you're inside your book there, and you can cast from it. That was not ideal. It actually brought my actual character to the back line, which you're not allowed to go there. So just be mindful of that. It actually treats it as though your character's in that location. Normally you're not allowed to walk over to this section of the game. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. I didn't realize. Our Water Elemental actually got an opportunity attack off, which will apply Chilled, so that we can hit them with a cold spell and deal double damage. So that's something that's kind of nice about that. Now with one target already chilled, our Water Elemental can actually do some pretty good positioning. It's got the Elemental Warp here, which we can use to teleport to anywhere, avoiding opportunity attacks, while also then letting us set up with our slam attack. So this is just a normal attack there, and we had chilled this target now too. And Counterspell coming in clutch here with a command getting stopped. Maybe? Didn't stop it. Now our book really can't do anything, but just make sure it's not in a position there where it's going to screw you over. So we also use the Spectral Mind here to cast. It keeps summoning more enemies into the back line here, so I'm just going to blast away with this here to try and hit as many of them as possible. And yeah, we got it there. Perfect. That's great. And the extra radiant damage actually took out a few targets and set up a large area of effective crowd control. That's why Odaluk's Freezing Sphere is so good. Now, I'm in a really rough position here because we end up getting our mind broken. We lost a turn of combat, and I lost the haste that I have on myself. I'm just going to eat that attack. That's fine. Mind Blast is going to save me here. I need anything to get back. And the Water Elemental, again, is so great at just pulling enemies in, aggroing them, and then also being able to apply that chill debuff. So always have it out. It's actually very powerful. We also, again, have our Lucky, and also the shield here. I would prefer to save Lucky. Use Lucky on the attack rolls because it doesn't use your reaction. We want to save Counterspell. Oh, we're going to hit by the crit. One with the word here, we could use this to be able to remove our summon. I'm not going to do that. We took the damage even though we used Lucky Point there. Unfortunate, but it happens. Oh my goodness, no, Shadowheart just got shoved to her death. Why does this keep happening? So I'm not in the best position right now, so Misty Step is just a good way to get away from any of those situations where you just need to not be there. So basically I'm going to pop this, and then we're going to drop down. If you got the increased level, you can do another Globe of, or Odaluk's Freezing Sphere. Cone of Cold being another good option here. I want to go Danger Close. I might move actually a little bit, and then drop the Odaluk's here, because this is going to hit as many targets as possible. Wizards are great for their crowd control, so yeah, we want to use this whenever possible. Ice Storm being like the weaker version of this, but this just hits in such a large area and sets up that surface here, and we're down to Shadowheart, so whatever it takes. This target here is the chill applied, so we may as well apply this on this target. And here we're actually going to counterspell it. Yeah, that's perfect. I didn't even use the Kreska's Favor, but that free chain lightning would be nice. But we can also use something like Lightning Bolt here. There's 4 targets in a straight line that we can hit, so always take those opportunities. And our book is there so that we can sometimes get extra of those, because sometimes the book's just in a really good spot. Now, there's no really opportunity for us to use the book on this turn, so I'm just not going to do that, but we have some pretty powerful crowd control spells too. That's one of the biggest things about playing as a wizard, is the amount of utility that you bring to the team. I didn't even use the Hat of Fire Cutie here, but a Hat of Fire Cutie would have boosted this up quite a bit so that we would land all of these. I'm still going to try it though, just to see if we can land this, and otherwise the Hat of Fire Cutie would have been a good choice for that, but we got most of these. Yeah, we got them all off, so that's all we needed there. This is great because then we can just end everybody's turn here, and then we can go ahead with some some critical attacks and also get extra damage off crit on them. Pretty good. And this can just win the game for you right here. We can then go ahead with some close range attacks, and things like Scorching Ray can do some pretty insane damage, so we'll just roll those all there. And yeah, it took out all 3 targets perfectly. And we'll end off some more of these. Should be enough to take them out. Yeah, there we go. So that is the Order of the Scribes Wizard, made by IncogneatoBurrito. So this is definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. The Book of Wizards 5e Wizard subclasses. So hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed. I hope you guys all have a great day, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.